It's on a first come, first serve production basis. So as we produce, we take this money, we ship the gold, we process it, we pour bars, and then ship that to the investors.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Jarad Lazerson. He is the CEO of North Bay Resources. And Jarad, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself, Steve?
Doing very well. Thanks very much. Launching a private placement from the company, a really interesting one, considering I know that you don't want your shareholders feel like they're part of the company, but you're literally giving them part of the company. Tell me a little bit about this unique offering.
Sure. Well, the focus is on physical gold. We wanted to show differentiation between other junior small cap mining stocks, and also reflect really the progress of the company over the last year since I've taken it over. So we've been in small production. The focus of this private placement is to now crank up production. We produced continuously as of, I guess it'll be earlier this month. So we're really putting together the operating capital for additional gold production. So really what this is kind of a reversey here where we're really going to investors for what would be the equivalent of advance against offtake. So we really take investor money, put it into production. We have significant stockpiles, many millions in gold in stockpile. So it's about 60-40, maybe a little bit more, depending on the price of gold, but it's about 60-40 gold to, or 40-60 gold to common shares. So kind of almost half and half, physical gold and common shares. It's on a first come, first serve production basis. So as we produce, we take this money, we ship the gold, we process it, we pour bars, and then ship that to the investors. So yeah, it's an interesting offering, but again, it's a differentiation, and ultimately it makes no matter to us, where the gold goes. So we are just as happy that it goes to investors. And really the last thought is to really split the market in terms of a limited market, which is junior mining stocks, to a much broader market, which is people interested in buying a gold. I don't want to say effectively at a discount. It's kind of right at fair value, right now where the price of gold is. But it really opens up that gold market. And again, the real point is to differentiate and say, look, we're producing, we need a chunk of investment here to really crank up to, let's say $500,000 a month in terms of initial production. And then that will allow us to grow organically to about $3 million a month, which is our at capacity at kind of the grade that we're seeing out of our Fran Gold Project.
So, Jarad, you're looking at raising about $1 million US in this offering. What's been the reaction so far that you're hearing from people when you say you're also going to get a little piece of gold as well?
Well, yeah, not a little piece of gold. Like I said, almost 50-50 gold. So
Yeah.
we're just seeing, we just launched on Friday. As you saw, this is one of the first interviews and kind of media piece that we're doing for it. We're going into the slow season here in especially this week of July, but I think that it really reaches to just a very broad audience. But really, our initial response from shareholders just in the since Friday was they just love it because of the show of confidence, right? That it really is having the effect. It's not exactly what I predicted, but you're in media, you know how it is. The response is never exactly what you expect, as long as there is a positive response. The flavor of it doesn't matter. But yeah, it was very positive. Stock traded decent volume on Friday, which I didn't think would be even, I didn't see it as a market event. But yeah, really just showing that we're moving ahead and that we're production oriented. So many of these junior mining companies that I'm involved with this my whole life, as you know, get stuck in the exploration phase, and it's really become a difficult business model where we're really focused on advancing production along with developing resource. I mean, ounces in the ground are super important in terms of the backbone of the company, but production's going well. It's taken kind of twice as long for us to come online as we expected. But like I said, we hit continuous production, and first thing we do is go to market and crank it up. And that's really the sole focus. We'll continue to do a little bit of exploration when we're on site, but generally we're just shipping. We have stockpiles, and we just identified, I was just up there for a week at our project, and we identified our initial mining block. So kind of, 4,000 to 5,000 in stockpile, to 5,000 ready to go in mining blocks. So we're pressing kind of in the 5 to 10 million range, already dialed in, and then we can obviously advance from there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Very interesting for sure. Jarad, great to see you again. Congratulations on this, and we look forward to following this until its completion. Okay.
Super. Thanks, Dave.
All right, there's Jarad Lazerson, the CEO of North Bay Resources.